Well, hey, Life Groups, we have just completed our series, Peace in Unusual Places. And this Sunday, we looked at the book of Philippians 4, chapter 4, starting verse 4 all the way through to verse 9. And we just explored what that piece of scripture, what Paul had to say to us in that piece of scripture. We identified that everybody's after peace, no matter what age or stage you are in life. Life throws these curveballs at you of unexpected, unprecedented events, and everybody's out there looking for peace somewhere. But the Bible tells us that peace is to be found inside. And actually, the peace that God gives to us is not a feeling. Remember, it's not an emotion, but actually it's something that transcends our understanding. There's no earthly explanation for it, but when it's in you, there's no denying of it. So in Philippians 4, Paul begins to break down a pattern which I believe is a key scripture to getting prayers answered effectively. And that pattern tells us how to have peace in our life. So Paul starts talking through and he starts telling us to be anxious. Remember that? Do not be anxious or worried. It's a stern word. It's not a suggestion. He's saying it to you like you would say to the child, don't put your hand in the fire. Do not. Paul said, if you get anxious or worried, then it's not going to end well for you, because once you allow those emotions in, fear is going to overtake you. So he says, do not be anxious or worried, but with thanksgiving, like have a thankful, grateful heart. Why do we have a thankful, grateful heart? Well, we have a thankful, grateful heart because despite the problem I'm going to, I have the healer, the redeemer, the life giver going through it with me. So with prayer and thanksgiving, with that grateful heart, make your prayers and petitions known to God. We talked about writing some stuff down. Do you know what delights me the most is when I go back through old journals and I see answered prayer. Write it down because it's refreshing to you. And also, you know that you've made an agreement with God. This is what I'm believing for. Write it in your phone, write it on a Post-it note on your wall, wherever you can, just so every time you glance at it, you can come into an agreement that God, even though I don't see you working, I know you are working. It says, so with a thankful heart, I'm not going to be anxious and worried. I'm going to have a thankful heart. With prayer and petition, I'm going to bring my request to God. And then the peace of God that transcends all understanding will be in your hearts and your minds. We spoke about how peace is a guard over your heart, that guard over your heart to stop emotions taking center stage of your life, to stop unwarranted emotions that you never invited to be in there, but those of fear and anxiety and doubt and worry and anger that want to come and sabotage your life. When you have the God of peace on the inside of you, that God protects your heart from unfiltered emotions coming through. And so I just want to encourage you in this because it's something we're all looking for, but actually it's something God's deposited within us already. We just have to know how to nurture and how to cultivate peace. And like Jesus spoke to the disciples on the boat, he said, you can't speak peace to the storm on the outside if you first don't know peace on the inside. So we've got to get it right on the inside first, because the way you think affects the way you see. And if you cannot get peace on the inside of your mind first, it will never show up in your life on the outside. So I encourage you, do a study of Philippians 4. If you want to know what Bible translation I use the Amplified version because it just expands it a little bit more. But have a great study evening, and I'll see you real soon.